Break the chain, overcome this beast of pain. One more rep, one more try. Feel the power rise so high.
Ever find yourself wincing years after, like, an old injury? Or maybe someone who just can't seem to shake off pain? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving deep into chronic pain. And trust me, it's way more than just a pulled muscle. We're talking about how pain can actually rewire our nerves. Kind of like an alarm system stuck on high alert, even when there's no real danger.
Yeah, it's like the body's internal alarm system gets a bit trigger happy with chronic pain, getting super sensitive to even the lightest touch.
Okay, so let's unpack this whole rewiring thing. The research mentioned something called peripheral sensitization. What's that all about?
So picture this. You accidentally touch a hot stove, that instant YOWCH feeling. That's your peripheral nervous system, your body's first line of defense telling you to back off. That whole area becomes extra sensitive to protect itself.
Makes sense. It's like our body saying, hey, easy does it around there, still healing. But how does pain that sticks around for ages, like months or even years, fit into this?
That's where things get really interesting. See, with chronic pain, the nervous system's response can actually get more intense over time. Remember that sunburn analogy? Imagine it's still stinging weeks later, even though the skin's healed. That's kind of like what happens with central sensitization.
Central sensitization. So
Yeah.
now it's not just about the original ouch spot anymore.
Exactly. Now the brain and spinal cord are getting in on the action. Think of it like, a game of telephone gone wrong between your brain and the rest of your body. With central sensitization, those pain signals get amplified, like someone cranked the volume knob way up and your brain has trouble turning it down.
So we've got these like supercharged pain signals, but then there's this other thing, long-term potentiation. Honestly, it sounds kind of scary. What's that all about?
I know, right? Sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie. But it's actually pretty simple. Imagine walking the same route every day. Over time, you don't even have to think about it, right? Long-term potentiation is sort of like that, but for your nerves. The more those pain signals travel the same pathways, the stronger those connections get, making it even easier for pain messages to zoom through.
So like paving a superhighway for pain signals. No wonder chronic pain could be so tough to shake. But shouldn't our brains be able to, like, quiet those signals down eventually?
You'd think so, right? They try. But here's the thing, that pain dampening system in our brains can actually become less effective with chronic pain. It's like having a phone constantly buzzing eventually, you barely notice it. The brain can almost get desensitized to its own attempts to calm things down.
Wow, that's wild. So we've got hypersensitive nerves, a superhighway for pain, and now our brains are struggling to hit the mute button. That's a lot to process.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about, like, the nervous system going a bit wonky, but this research you shared goes even deeper, right? It talks about this whole mind-body connection. It's not just about, like, a physical injury, is it?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. This is where things get really interesting, actually. It's called the biopsychosocial model of pain, and it basically recognizes that our experience of pain isn't just about our bodies. Our thoughts, our emotions, even our social situations all play a part.
See, I think a lot of people, myself included, we tend to think of pain as, purely physical.
Yeah.
How do these other factors, like, actually play into it?
Okay, so let's imagine two people, right? They both have the exact same back injury. One person has a great support system that loves their job, generally feeling good. The other person, super stressed job, maybe a recent loss, feeling isolated. You see where I'm going with that?
Yeah, definitely.
Even with the same physical injury, their experience of pain, even their recovery, it can be totally different.
So you're saying someone who's stressed out or feeling lonely might actually feel more pain than someone with a more positive outlook, even with the same injury. That's kind of crazy.
It is. Our mental and emotional state, it can really influence how our brain actually processes those pain signals. And it doesn't stop there. Cultural background, access to healthcare, even our environment can make a difference. It's pretty complex.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack. It really highlights how important it is to address chronic pain holistically, right? Not just focusing on, like, popping a pill.
Exactly. You have to look at the whole picture.
Yeah.
Ignoring the mental and social aspects is like, well, it's like trying to bake a cake without all the ingredients. Sometimes those non-physical factors, they're the missing ingredient to really help someone recover.
That actually reminds me of something else you highlighted, this whole ripple effect of chronic pain. It's not just
Yeah.
about our physical selves, right?
Absolutely not. Sleep goes out the window, it gets harder to work, do everyday things, even relationships can get strained. It's like this chain reaction impacting every single part of a person's life.
Makes you realize how much we take for granted when we're not in pain, you know?
It's true. Things we don't even think about, a good night's sleep, being able to focus at work, even just enjoying hobbies. Chronic pain can make those things seem impossible. That's why we have to address the impact it has on someone's quality of life, not just the pain itself.
So we've explored this whole science of pain, this intricate mind-body connection. But let's get to what I know a lot of our listeners are wondering. What can you actually do about chronic pain? There's so much information out there, it's overwhelming to know where to even start.
Oh, I hear you. It can definitely feel overwhelming. But the good news is there are lots of effective treatments out there besides just medication. And some of the most promising ones, they actually focus on retraining your brain to process pain differently.
Retraining the brain. Okay, now that sounds kind of like, I don't know, next level stuff. How do we even start doing that?
Well, one of the most researched approaches is something called cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT for short.
CBT. Okay, I've heard of that, but I'll be honest, it sounds a little intimidating. Like, am I supposed to just, like, think happy thoughts and pretend the pain's not there?
Not at all. It's not about denying the pain, but rather understanding how our thoughts and actions can actually make it worse. And then the cool part is learning how to break those cycles.
So, like, if I'm constantly thinking, ugh, this pain will never go away, that actually makes it harder to feel better.
Exactly. It's like you're telling your brain to stay stuck in pain mode. CBT helps you hit the reset button on those thoughts.
Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. So how does CBT actually help, like, change those thought patterns?
So there's this technique called cognitive restructuring. It's basically becoming a detective of your own thoughts. You learn to spot those negative thought patterns and challenge them.
Okay, so, like, what would that sound like in real life? Give me an example.
Sure. Let's say you've got chronic back pain, right? And you catch yourself thinking, that's it, I'm doomed to live on the couch, I'll never be able to go hiking again. With cognitive restructuring, you'd learn to say, hold on a minute, yeah, my back hurts right now, but that doesn't mean I can't work towards my goals. Maybe I can start with some gentle walks and see how it goes. It's about finding that sense of hope and control, even with the pain.
I see. So it's not about ignoring reality, but kind of shifting your perspective to a more, like, empowered place.
Exactly. And besides changing our thoughts, CBT also incorporates some relaxation techniques that you might find helpful. Things like progressive muscle relaxation or PMR and guided imagery.
Wait, guided imagery, like picturing myself on a beach somewhere, that actually helps with pain.
I know, it sounds a little out there, but it really can. When you engage your imagination like that, it can actually shift your focus away from the pain and even change how your brain processes those pain signals. It's like a mini vacation for your brain.
Okay, I have to admit, I'm a little skeptical, but I'm willing to give it a try. What about PMR? What's that all about?
It's pretty cool, actually. It involves tensing and relaxing different muscle groups in your body, kind of like teaching your body to let go of tension it might not even realize it's holding. And that can actually help lessen pain.
Wow, so CBT is really about, like, tackling chronic pain from all angles, huh?
Exactly. It's about addressing both the mental and the physical. And another really important piece of that is activity pacing. It's all about finding that balance between doing too much and not doing enough.
So not just pushing through the pain, but also not just, like, hiding under the covers all day.
Exactly. It's really common for people with chronic pain to avoid activities they love because they're afraid of making things worse. But that avoidance can actually lead to more pain and weakness in the long run.
Makes sense. So finding that sweet spot is key. This whole conversation is making me realize that physical therapy isn't just for athletes or people recovering from surgery, is it? It can be so helpful for chronic pain, too.
100%. And there's a specific type of physical therapy that's been getting a lot of attention lately. Pain and Neuroscience Education, or PNE.
PNE, that's a new one. Tell me more.
It's all about knowledge is power. PNE focuses on teaching people about the science of pain, like how the nervous system works, what the brain's role is, and how things like stress and emotions can actually influence how we feel pain.
So it's like taking the mystery out of pain, which can make it less scary.
Exactly. When you understand why you hurt, it can actually make the pain itself feel less intense. It's about taking back control.
I love that. So PNE is like educating your way out of pain.
In a way, yes. And there are other techniques too, like graded motor imagery, where you gradually work your way up to imagining movements without actually doing them. Sounds weird, but it can actually rewire your brain and reduce pain.
Wait, so you're telling me just by imagining something, we can actually change our brains?
Pretty cool, right? And then there's mirror therapy, which uses mirrors to kind of trick the brain into thinking the painful area is moving normally, which can help with both pain and how well you can move.
Wow, mirror therapy, graded imagery. It's amazing how adaptable our brains are. We've covered a lot today. For our listeners who might be like feeling a little overwhelmed with information, what are the key takeaways you want them to leave with?
Well, first and foremost, if you're struggling with chronic pain, you are not alone. It's incredibly common, and it doesn't mean you're weak or broken. Second, pain is complex. It's not just in your head, but your thoughts, emotions, all of that plays a role in how you experience and manage it. And lastly, there is always hope. The world of pain management is constantly evolving, and there are so many effective treatments out there to help you regain your quality of life.
Those are such important reminders. And for anyone listening who is dealing with chronic pain, please know that you don't have to suffer in silence. Reach out to a healthcare professional. There's help available, and you deserve to live a full and vibrant life without being held back by pain. And if you're looking for that support from the comfort of your own home, be sure to check out the link in our episode description. We've got information there about physical therapy home health services. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time for another fascinating exploration.